And I'm here to talk about the people who criticize backyard wrestling. And I'm here to issue a challenge to one man in particular who's been quite outspoken about backyard wrestling. The critics of backyard wrestling go all the way to the top, to the World Wrestling Entertainment. People there talk bad about backyard, and they go as far as putting out these warnings saying kids don't do this at home. But in the same breath, they go and glorify people like Jeff and Matt Hardy, Shannon Moore, Chris Jericho, Mick Foley, who all have extensive pasts in backyard. Just a little hypocritical, don't you think? You go to the independent promotions, where half the guys are either have been involved in backyard or still are involved in backyard. They just don't want to talk about it because they're afraid what the other people are going to think. Because there's so many people in the indies that want to shit talk backyard when most of them have done it themselves at one point or another. But no one wants to talk about it. Well, I'm here to talk about it. The number one subject I want to hit on right now is a gentleman, if you can call him that, named Damian Demento and his demented rants. These videos that are all over YouTube in a sore, tired attempt at reclaiming some sort of fame he had in the early 1990s and late 80s. Well, let me tell you something, Demento. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. Okay, you want to go out there and give your, you want to keep your name out there by putting your opinions on the internet? Awesome. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Where I take offense is when you start crucifying everybody out there. You go and you crucify guys like Rob Van Dam and the Iron Sheik for their choice, their personal choice to indulge in marijuana. Now, that may not be something that you do, that may not be something I do, but you know what? It was their choice. They choose to do it. Who the fuck are you to say anything about it? You go and you crucify all the wrestlers. Wrestlers have chosen in their path to use a little tiny blade to extract some blood from them for showmanship. Okay? Now I understand your problem with this. I truly do. But who the fuck are you to crucify anybody for it? Okay? You want to give your opinion, you want to say that it's wrong? Fine. But you go and you slander these people? Well, who the fuck are you to slander anybody, Demento? You're fucking nobody. That's who you are. You're no more of a person to go and crucify all these people than I am or the old lady who lives down the street. Okay? But you think everybody should listen to Damian Demento because he was somebody at some point. My biggest problem with Demento right now is the fact that he's taking credit, pure credit, for inspiring the WWE to go PG. Well, let me tell you something, Demento. I guarantee when Vince McMahon made this decision, it had nothing to do with you. You don't think it had a little bit of the fact to do with his fucking wife was choosing to run for Congress? No, it had nothing to do with that. Vince said, you know what? Damian Demento thinks that we should be PG, so that's what we should do. Yeah, that's what Vince said. My biggest problem with you, Demento, is you call backyard wrestling all sorts of names. And you criticize backyard wrestling based on your ignorance. Okay? It's pure ignorance what you're basing your criticism on. Because you, just like the rest of the fucking society, only know what you've seen on the stupid fucking news and all those retards who post the stupid shit they do on YouTube. Okay? I have been in backyard wrestling for 13 years. Okay? People are going to come out and criticize me for that, saying that, well, if I want to be a wrestler, why don't I go get trained and do it the respectful way? I have no interest in becoming a professional wrestler. Okay? It's not in me to go out and get paid, if paid, $20 a night on the independent circuit to go break my back and be treated like shit. Okay? That's not for me. I have a lot of friends in the indies, and they love it, and that's awesome for them, and I support the indies 100%, just as much as I support the WWE. Okay? I have no problem with the people who choose to do that. That's not for me. I do backyard wrestling for one reason and one reason only. It's because it's fun. I love doing it. Okay? However, if you're ever to watch any of my matches, there's some things you're never going to see. Some of those things include light tubes, barbed wire, excessive amounts of blood. Okay, I've bled, but I've never, drained myself. You'll never see a cheese grater in my match. And here's the thing that angers me the most. I'm going to stray off of Demento for a second and hit up the Jesse Jones show, who in the late 90s, when everybody was talking about backyard wrestling, 3 years after I started it back in Northern Ontario, it was a hot topic at the time, yet everybody wanted to talk about the stupid shit the backyarders were doing. Okay? A good friend of mine saw on the Jenny Jones show that they were wanting to bring on backyard wrestlers onto their show. And we felt it important to go and show them the product that we did. Okay? Where we were trying our best to give off a good wrestling show. Not only in the backyard, but in public events all over our towns. In front of hundreds of people. We were giving off real wrestling. Okay? It might not have been pretty, it might not have been great, because we weren't trained at the time. But the Jenny Jones show wanted nothing to do with that. The only question to my friend was, how often do you guys use weapons such as cheese graters in your match? When the answer was no, they pretty much hung up the fucking phone. Because that's what people want to see in backyard, right? They want to see people mutilate themselves. Now I'm 100% agreeing with Damian Demento on this, that self-mutilation with weapons like excessive use of fire. I'm not saying I've never used fire in a match, but I've never gone and destroyed my body because of it. I've never been burned, ever. Okay? And if you look on my body, I've got no scars from the times I've been cut and beat and bruised. Okay? I've got no scars from that because I've done things in a way that I've always prided myself on not hurting myself and not hurting my opponents. Because that is what the true art form of wrestling, whether it be in a real ring or a backyard ring, is all about. Okay? I want you to remember that, Damian Demento, that there are wrestlers and there are performers like myself and my friends out there, and we're not all based on these New Jack and Necro Butcher wannabes. Okay? But that's the way you look at it. That's what these retards are doing. So you classify all backyarders as doing that. Well, that's not the fucking case. And for you, stereotyping all backyarders as that kind of fucking example, well, that's horseshit. That makes you a fucking hypocrite. That makes you a fucking retard. Okay? So here's my challenge to Damian Demento. Email me, Demento. Comment on my video. Send me some sort of message on YouTube. Talk to me. Because what I'm issuing to you is an open invitation. I'm a part of a group now called UBWA that brings in 7 or 8 different backyard wrestling promotions from all over Canada, and we put them in every year for this big show that we do called Wrestle Union. We do it once a year, and it's the highlight of my year. I'm going to put a chair in that yard, especially for you, Demento, because I want you to come in and watch what we do. And I want you to gain a respect for what we do. And then maybe, if you want to go and talk shit about backyard wrestling some more after that, there'll be one of two things. One, either you'll be justified in it at least, or number 2, you're still talking out your fucking ass, and I'll lose all respect. The little respect I almost have for you will be fucking gone, and I'll just say, fuck you, buddy. Do I expect him to reply? Do I expect him to be there? No, I don't. I'm not a retard. I don't expect him to actually show up. However, I'll pull the Eric Bischoff card, and I'll issue the challenge anyways, and I'll set up for Demento to be there, because I think you should be there, Demento. And do I expect Demento to watch this video? Yeah, I do, because he's got nothing better to do with his time, obviously. So, at least think about it. Talk about it in your next rant, how some asshole in a cowboy hat came out and called you a retard. Either way, I've said my piece. I think I've done it somewhat respectively, which is more than you can say about the fucking garbage that comes out of your goddamn mouth on a regular fucking basis. So that's it. That's my challenge to Damian Demento. Let's see what happens. Until then, this is the UC Soldier, the Prince of Perversion, the Omega of Obscenity, the Criminal. See you later, baby.